First Sunday, I never intended to have an affair. Maybe if I write it all down, it will help me understand what's going on. I'm not one of those housewives who voluntarily quit because they were bored and lonely or just vaguely unsatisfied. He was just someone I became friends with and started flirting with. Yes, I enjoyed his attention. It was good and right, just different enough that I felt powerless to resist. Oh, who am I kidding? When your hormones are raging and someone tells you that you are beautiful, special, and fabulous, and actually listens to you, thoughts of broken families and hearts are a million miles away. It wasn't until I physically crossed the line that I began to realize everything I could lose. Second week. Wow. This new excitement feels like taking off. Hiding your affair seems to be as exciting as the affair itself. For the first time in as long as I can remember, I have something that belongs only to me, and my little secret energizes me more than the process itself. Third week. I don't know why I feel so guilty. When was the last time my husband paid attention to me the way he should have? There is no more passion in my marriage. We were both too young when we got married. It seems like we're almost roommates now rather than lovers. Sometimes he's just such a controlling, emotionally unavailable slob. He's walking around too. Well, I don't have any proof, but I damn sure suspect he is. I saw how that slutty little secretary looked at him, how he always bumps into the divorcee across the street. I can come up with 10,000 reasons why what I do is not as bad as what he does. But why do I feel like this is just self-justification for my actions? Am I just trying to convince myself? Eighth week, I really miss my friends. At first, the completely exclusive, top-secret nature of my novel was one of the most attractive aspects. It was just the two of us against the world, and I enjoyed that connection. But I want to talk to someone, but I have nowhere to turn. I know that even if I tell my best friend about this, it will put her in an awkward position and possibly jeopardize everything. So I feel very, very alone. 12th week. Damn, this thing is expensive. Fancy dinners, faraway hotel rooms, sexy lingerie, reliable babysitters, personal training. My hidden account is spiraling out of control. 4-star hotels have replaced motels and backseat dates in parks. Fancy dinners where we might get noticed are a thing of the past, and because of that pesky paper trail, most of it has to be covered in cash. I never thought that I would become closely acquainted with the term creative finance. 14th week. Why do I feel like I'm in a constant state of fear? What if my lover calls? And if not? What if someone sees us together? Can I call him? Should I call him? When should I call him? Am I behaving differently? Do I dress differently? Do I smell different? When I'm not obsessively thinking about these questions, I run through all the possible outcomes in my head until my head spins. 15th week. Guarding my damn computer and phone is now my full-time job. I try to keep our interactions to a minimum, and yet I still have to arrange these risky meetings. This means that there is likely all sorts of evidence stored on my computer and phone. I suffer from regular panic attacks, wondering if I really left my laptop open. Yesterday, when I forgot my mobile phone, I had to run home to pick it up immediately. 16th Sunday. Today I called my lover by my husband's name and we had a good laugh, but now I'm afraid I'll say the wrong name at the wrong time. It's a constant fear. Over coffee, this is a concern. In bed, it borders on madness. I am close to my husband. But when this happens, I think about my lover, comparing them, no matter how hard I try not to. God, how I hate my new world. I had to stop calling them both by their first names, and now I stick to something generic like sweetheart. 17th week. I am someone's wife, someone's mother. I took a vow and built my life and family. I live a lie day after day. I cry in the shower, in the car, in the bathroom, at work. I didn't want it to be like this, and sometimes I don't even know how it happened. I often told my friends about the nasty revelers we knew, and was sure they would get what they deserved. Now the cheater is me, and I know I'm not meant to be with this new person. So why am I doing this? The guilt seems all-consuming. The shame never, ever goes away. 19th week. Why can't I sleep at night anymore? My days are a blur of juggling and secrecy, so you'd think that once everyone else is neatly tucked into bed, I'd pass out immediately. Only I can't. My mind keeps reminiscing about the day, going back and trying to make sure I didn't leave any clues. And even when I'm sure it's not, those evening hours are filled with an agonizing stream of whys and ifs. 21st week. The very illicit nature of my relationship means that I cannot reach my lover whenever the desire arises. When that window finally appears and I can't reach it, my first thought is invariably, he's with someone else. I try to push this thought away, but it is there. Every time he is distant, unavailable, moody, or in a bad mood, this terrifying thought rears its ugly head again. If he cheats on his wife, why should I think he will be faithful to me? 22nd week. Just when I least expect it, my ideal lover, the one I risked life and family with to be by my side at every secret turn, always does something to irritate, stress, or disappoint me. The hands in which I sought consolation to escape my husband's apathy become indifferent. The one who attracted me with his calm confidence is in fact a child in need of care. I learned too late that all relationships require sacrifice, work, and compromise. This moment is just sleeping, no matter how painful. Why am I only now discovering that no relationship is perfect? 23rd week. No matter how experienced my new bed partner was, I had to accept the fact that the sheer novelty of sex with someone new had worn off. Our once hot sex had lowered the temperature. Maybe not completely, and I'm not saying it's anything close to boredom, but what used to feel like an electric jolt is now more like a tingling sensation. 24th week. My children make everything 80 million times more difficult. Every minute I spend with my lover, even if the children are at school or doing something else, I feel like I'm stealing from them. I worry about what they will think if they find out and how I will feel if their future partners do the same to them. Sometimes I cry myself to sleep, thinking about what will happen to them if the only family they have ever known is destroyed. 25th week. It seems so strange, but I began to appreciate things in my spouse that I had never noticed. Should I blame it on a lot of guilt, or maybe I suffer a little from remorse? But when my husband brings me coffee just the way I like it, or this weekend, when he remembered to send my stepmom a birthday card, my heart just breaks a little. The shine is really starting to fade in my other new relationship, so the pain just keeps getting worse. 26th week. Part of me is tired of the lies and desperately wants to confess. And then I remember what's at stake and I shudder. Confession could mean the end of my marriage. This will cause pain and anger to my partner and children, and it will turn their world upside down if the marriage breaks down. I will be branded. My life will never be the same again. So, I return to the grueling game of hide and seek, conceal or confess. Both options suck. 27th week. It was all a mistake. It's just too complicated. I'm very tired. Unfortunately, just because I want to get out of this affair doesn't mean my lover agrees. I tried to end it. He threatened to spill everything to my husband. I think this is a bluff, since he has a wife and children whom he could also lose. Whatever the circumstances, we are not on the same page. It will be a really stormy meeting. I pray that the ending of the novel is not as disastrous as the beginning. 28th week. Now I feel free, but I terribly regret that I didn't. The hearts, promises, and trusts I've broken are painful, and if I knew then what I know now, I wish I could go back and rewrite just a few pages of my story. 32nd week. A month has passed since I finished this matter. I'm starting to think that maybe this affair actually strengthened my marriage. Now I know it was a colossal mistake. I realize how much I lost in the process. This epiphany turned me into the most attentive and grateful partner on the planet. At this point, I have two options. I can confess everything so we can try to move forward honestly and hope that my husband is willing to save our relationship. But I feel that sharing all the dirty details will only hurt my partner, and I decided to suffer in silence. I accept that I will have to live with my guilt, as well as a healthy degree of paranoia that he will somehow find out. On the other hand, my novel is the beginning of a relationship that I have always dreamed of, and will do everything possible to achieve and maintain. This is the beginning of a new chapter in my life. Either way, the affair changed me and my relationships, and I hope I can accept the outcome. 36th week. My world just collapsed. Today I came home to an empty house and found divorce papers from my husband on the kitchen table. We all know that about half of marriages end in divorce, but none of us ever think it will happen to us, which is why it felt even more surreal and heartbreaking when my husband handed me the divorce papers. Of course, I also never thought that I would have an affair. It was just a long novel that I finished a few months ago. I was so careful. Did he really find out? How did he know? Now everything goes through lawyers. It's like, I'm not alive because my husband, my soulmate, the person I would like to spend the rest of my life with, doesn't even talk to me. Informing children was the most difficult moment of my life. I wanted us to tell the children to share the news together as a united front. It was a test to just get my husband to agree to be there without me trying to humiliate or put the burden on him. I know it was my own mess. The children blamed themselves first and foremost, and this was the hardest thing. Then they directly blamed me. I was not ready for the anger, tears, screams, and then silence. My youngest, a preschooler, did not immediately understand this. This means that I will have to listen to some version of this conversation again and again. Wow, I never knew how divorce makes people feel so uncomfortable and their desire to not be around me. This is so unfair. As the friendship I truly shared with my now ex-husband simply ended and left me. All the husbands believed that I would be a bad influence on their wives. I thought the days of strife were over, but the friends who had not disappeared all seemed to take his side. When we parted, I thought that my people would go with me. I tried to surround myself with people who could see the real me, but it was difficult since everyone I seemed to be attracted to were other philandering divorcees or sleazy married men looking for a quickie. I can't believe how tight money is. Neither of us were millionaires, and even with alimony, my standard of living had really dropped. I had to sell the house I loved so much and move to a smaller house. Precious savings evaporated to cover legal bills. I wanted to be a full-time stay-at-home mom, and now I'm back at work. I'm doing my best to stay on top of the budget, but I just pray that the added financial pressure doesn't last forever. I'm exhausted trying to make ends meet. Why do I cry spontaneously all the time? The trigger could be anything: a family walking down the street, pregnant woman, a colleague announces his engagement, or the fact that the stupid telegraph operators were 3 hours late. Why can't something go as it should? Seeing your children on a schedule is completely wrong. I will never get used to the new normal. Due to my husband's travel and work schedules, we have the traditional see you dad on the weekend routine. There are days in my week when I can't put my kids to bed or be there to wake them up. I miss them, and the house feels empty. I hate that schedule just becomes life. I realized that I had gone through all the important things: telling the kids, my husband moving out, taking off the rings, packing the wedding photos, signing the papers, and I thought, okay, it's finally over. But then I missed the first family event with my ex-in-laws, whom I love. Then my children spend their first vacation without me. I have to catch my breath again. When we got married, I imagined decades of events and moments that we would share as a family. Now I can only mourn them because they are gone. Divorce is 1,000 little goodbyes. I was walking with a few friends and suddenly found myself talking to a guy and flirting. After a few drinks, We kissed like a couple of college students. Yes, I am a cheater from a broken marriage with 3 children. Why not? For a while, I can just be a kissing woman. It's a lot of fun, and I enjoy the attention. There's something completely different about sex after divorce. First of all, especially in a new relationship, hot is hot. The novelty, the freedom, the excitement of being with someone you're truly attracted to creates quite a storm. But what's also different is that, perhaps, for the first time, or at least for the first time in a long time, I'm in charge of my own sex life, and this confidence allows me to connect deeply with my new partner and with myself in a whole new way. He sees me as I am. Now that I've fallen in love again, I have a chance to do things differently. I never put sex first before, but now I will. I used to constantly fight for money to provide a better way to communicate. This is a second chance to have the life I hoped for. But to get it, I need to understand past mistakes and take steps to avoid them again. I can't believe this day has come. It has come sooner than I could have imagined. I have reached a point where I know that the life I have now is the one I have been waiting for since the day I was served with the divorce papers. My new man is wonderful. I am in a good situation and want to continue to be here. After everything that happened, I deserve it. I was able to go back and jump forward. My new boyfriend, the man in my life, the one who I thought was the light at the end of the tunnel. This light turned out to be a harbinger of disaster. His wife came to my work with 2 crying children in tow. My damn place of work. She called me names that I didn't even know, beat me with words. And all this time, she threw around dozens of the most pornographic photographs of me and her husband. Photos taken by my boyfriend using the new smartphone I bought him. Our most intimate moments that were meant to be just for us. Everyone at work sat stunned or laughed as security pulled the screaming woman out of the building. Muttering, "I didn't know he was married." I scrambled to collect the photos of my smiling face looking back with his loving cock inserted into my ass that were scattered all over the floor. At first, I was grateful for the help of several employees until I saw them leave with these photos. It got even worse when one of the men asked me to sign these embarrassing printouts. As I ran out the door crying, all I could think about was, everything in life comes back like a boomerang, but karma still exists. Subscribe to our channel so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think about listening to the next one.